tune.
Oh, that's necessary. I did karaoke one time.
Yeah?
But I don't remember it.
Oh, that's too bad.
I could have used one.
Hey, Chris Lord, why should you never trust atoms?
Oh, you just told me this one.
Because they make up everything.
They make up everything, folks. So here we are. What day is it? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. So that must mean
it's Dad Joke Tuesday.
Dad Jokes Tuesday with Kevin and Chris Lord. So,
what did the vegetarian zombie say, Chris?
I don't know.
Grains.
Oh, that's good. I like that one. Fergus would like that one. So, all right. Let me turn this on, getting everything ready. Oh, that's my. There we go. All right. Oh, so I've got Facebook open.
What do you call a blind deer, Chris?
A blind deer? I do not know.
No idea.
No idea. I shouldn't laugh, but here we are.
When you laugh, it encourages me to read more.
I know. That's what my mom always said about like the bad kids in school. Just ignore them; they'll stop.
Ignore the bad kids.
Ignore them; they'll stop eventually. It's not true. Not at all.
No, because I haven't stopped.
You haven't stopped yet. All right, I've got Facebook open. I'm gonna get YouTube open. So if there's anyone here, okay. Well, I'll let you do what you're doing, and I'll just keep. There we go. I'm all ready. I got it all ready. I got it all turned on, everyone. Oh, Todd Perrin just joined on Instagram. Hi, Todd Perrin. You should come over to YouTube. You guys all think that this sign that I wrote on Instagram looks like I've got terrible handwriting, but the part you don't know is that I wrote it all backwards, so it's in reverse. So it's actually quite impressive that I only made 2 little typos. So. But yeah, so it's Tuesday. That means, oh, Iggy's here. Says happy Tuesday. Oh, Michael just jumps right in. What's the most popular purchased Gyuto? Well, you know what? I'll answer that, but let me talk about what we're doing.
We should probably talk about what's going on here.
Yeah. So every Tuesday.
Did you ask Todd Perrin if his restaurant's open right now?
I don't know. Todd, if you're still watching, are you guys still open right now? Are you allowed to be open in Newfoundland? We're not allowed to be open in Ontario. The store is, but restaurants aren't.
No, restaurants aren't.
So on Tuesdays, Kevin and I get together via Zoom, and we put it up on Facebook. We put it up on on YouTube. Instagram's running, but we're you should come over to YouTube because it's better. It's not just
you can't hear or see me there.
Yeah, you can't see what Kevin is saying,
which is probably good, really.
He's got a pretty good dad joke book. So Meki thinks I'm joking. He's new. He doesn't know what it's like around here yet. But so every Tuesday we get together, and this is kind of like Knifeware's Ask Me Anything. So if you needed help picking out a knife, or you were curious about this maker versus that maker, or you had some more kind of entry level sharpening questions, because I'm good at sharpening, but I'm not like Naoto does a much better job of that on Fridays. And we kind of get everybody up to speed on what we're up to, what's coming up. We generally, sometimes we got a little bit of a theme. We focus on certain things. And so if you're on YouTube or Facebook, by all means, throw any questions up in the comments, and we'll get to it. All right. We encourage all kinds of we're whatever you need to know. If we say something, I don't know, Western handles versus Japanese handles, you might not know the difference, and that's okay, because that's why we're here, right? That's a Japanese handle. Sometimes we call it a wall.
Only do Japanese handles.
Or a Western handle. So, if you need to ask a question, I promise that we will not make fun of you. It doesn't matter, all right? And if anyone in here is going to make fun of other people, I'll boot them. I don't know how to do it, but I'll figure it out. It's got to be a way. I get booted all the time when I'm playing games and stuff.
You shouldn't swear. Okay. You should say nicer things to people.
Oh my God, Adrian. This guy, Adrian, Chef Max here, he remembers all the things that get me fired up. You see what he just asked? Is that extra cut needed when cutting onions? You know what? I'm feeling a little calmer today, Adrian.
It's not. It's just what losers do.
It's just what losers do when they're trying to do a good job, okay?
All right. I see somebody saying good evening from Germany. Who
that's
won the
cool.
sharpening competition you guys did a while back? Hey, maybe we should just start talking about that.
Yeah, that's fun.
Because that was a while
thing.
ago now, but that was a fun thing.
That was 2 summers ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who made those knives? Ikeda made them?
Ikeda made them, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ikeda-san, he's the blacksmith behind the Kotetsu line. It's kind of, he's the blacksmith, Shiba does the sharpening and the fit and the finish and all that. But so there was like 55 Santokus. They were a blue carbon Santoku. And they showed up dull. They weren't finished yet. And this was 2 summers ago. Every staff member who worked at Knifeware was given one, plus people in like the warehouse and whatnot too. Anyone who knew how to sharpen a knife was given a knife to sharpen. And so I think there was 55 of them. And they were all numbered.
It was something like that. I had number 29.
Yeah, I don't remember what number I had. It's written down somewhere. But everyone was given 30 minutes to sharpen it. And it wasn't finished. It needed to be thinned out. So everyone took their 30 minutes and when they were all done, so everyone in every city did theirs, and then they sent them all to my store because my store was the last stop on the blacksmith tour that year. So all the knives showed up here and they were all numbered and we didn't know whose were whose. And then one evening, it was the day after the Japanese Summer Festival here in Ottawa, that Shibata-san, Ikeda, and Kato-san, I guess I should say Ikeda-san, I'm not trying to be rude, Ikeda-san and Kato-san, they were all here in Ottawa doing demonstrations, and they came to my house. I had a barbecue for them, and then they tested all the knives. And so Shiba went through them? Yeah, so he went through them one by one. He had like a 10-pound bag of carrots, and he would take a slice of the carrot and then he would put it in one of 2 piles. And he would go through the whole way, and he was very diplomatic. He said, these are the great ones and these are the okay ones. So no one did a bad job, all right? So what he did is he went through and he would take a slice of the carrot, and that was enough for him to know. And then he would take everything from the good pile, and then it was neat what he was doing. He would slice the carrot again, and you could see like how slow he was going. And then he would take just like the end, like the round of the carrot. Like, I don't know, here's my beard brush, pretend this is it. And he would just take a little wedge of carrot and just feel how the knife bit into it. Mm-hmm. And he would just go one against the other through the whole pile. I don't remember how everybody placed, but it was really cool to watch because.
Well, he rated them. He said, these are the top 5 sharpest. And these are the top 5 best looking.
Yes. Yeah, there was that too. So depending on because I think you and I were in the same boat. We just went for sharp. Like I didn't really focus very long on making it look pretty.
I went for 10 minutes and I didn't want to win. I didn't think there was any point in me winning. I also didn't want to lose, but I lost pretty hard. Shiva told me he was disappointed.
But then I believe. Oh.
Yeah,
if I remember, it was Kate was the one who won.
Yep.
Kate was the warehouse manager at the time. And then number 2 was Alex from Ottawa.
Yeah, and Ayumi from Vancouver.
And then Ayumi and Naoto and Kasumi were in there too. I'm pretty sure. I wasn't in the top 5.
So was I, and so was I in Edmonton was in there. I might be able to find from Calgary. Spencer from Calgary was in there.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Yeah, it was. You know what? I learned a lot. And this is one of those things, because a lot of people, we do get a lot of questions on how can I be, like, I don't know, how can I become a better sharpener? Give me some advice, this and that. Get someone to check your, work. one of the
Yeah.
best things that I do, like when I'm in the store,
Check it against
you know,
the brand new knife.
that's what I get.
nice.
And that's what I get to do, right? Because I have a store full of brand new knives. So if I'm like thinning out and sharpening a Moritaka, well, I'll just go grab another Moritaka and see how mine matches up to a brand new one. But you know what? Get someone and have some construct. One of the things that we do in the store to get better at sharpening is everyone sharpens a knife, and then we all test it and we all pick one another apart. And we're in an environment where we can do that, and no one gets too upset. But that's the only way to get better, right? Is a little bit of criticism.
Michael Douglas, you might know him from such films as.
Game.
He is asking, what's the most popular purchased Gyuto at Knifeware?
Well, I think for a long time it was the Koishi.
This guy.
Is that what you grabbed?
Yeah, it's on the cover of the book, man.
Yeah, the Koishi 210. I don't have a Koishi 210. I have a Koishi.
That's because it's so popular.
Yeah. Yeah, this is by far. This is not a Gyuto. This is a Koishi. I just want to show you the finish.
But Masakagi Koishi 210 millimeter is the most purchased Gyuto from us, and has been for years.
Yeah,
has been for years. We also have Johan, maybe from Germany, saying, when will the garage sale take place?
I have that on my notes.
Yeah, well, why don't we talk about it right this second, and how it's going to be slightly different, and maybe what is it?
Well, the garage sale, I've always kind of described it as like record store day. Sorry, there's just someone like waving in the window. I got distracted. I've always described it as record store day. So if you don't know what that is, record store day is when record stores go and they get like it's not about, they don't take everything in their store and like slash the prices on it. It's more they get really cheap reissues of classic albums, or they get ultra rare picture discs or things that are just made for record store day. You see it in like comic book shops too. There's something called Free Comic Book Day, where you can go and get like, it's about making just rare things. Like it's a bit of a collector's thing. And our garage sale is very similar to that. It's not about like, you're not gonna, the whole store doesn't just all of a sudden get cheaper. It's not that kind of sale. But for the past little while, well, every other year, Kevin would travel to Japan and meet with everybody. But lately he's been talking to everyone on Zoom and kind of going through their inventory. And
I'm off to Japan tonight.
Yep.
Right after this, I'm off to Japan. I'm off to Kyushu to talk to the Mortakas on Zoom.
Yeah.
On Zoom.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun because it's something that you'll like, we don't have these knives all the time. Or so the way, like the stuff you find at the garage sale is like, the ultra cheap reissues of classic albums are things like these Tojiro fine grooves, the Narihiras, right? This is a great knife. It's made out of molybdenum vanadium, which is nerd speak for it's just like a Mac or a Global with just like a little stainless steel handle. It's a lot like a Global, to be honest, but these guys are like $57, and it's just
because, you know what? Do you know why we got those for so cheap? Because Toshiro makes those knives for a certain customer, and that customer stopped buying them.
Okay, so they just have.
So we got them all, but they retail for about $80 to $100 in Japan, and we saw them for 57 because this is what garage sale's all about, right? Garage sale's also about special things too, like. See this fancy handle? This fancy handle's on a Kobayashi knife, and that was great. We did some of those last year, but I know we've got a bunch of these handles now to put them on things like Masakagi knives. So he's put them on some Masakagi knives, and he's put them on, I believe, some more Moritaka knives. So those will be in the garage sale because we have one of a kinds, one-off blacksmith kind of experiments. We've got some overstock things. We've got knives from new blacksmiths and knives from people that are just small makers that just don't make enough knives that we can carry throughout the whole year. There's even one blacksmith, and I'm not getting any this time, but there's one blacksmith who I think he makes great Nikiris. So I just buy the Nikiris from him.
Oh, okay.
But we haven't got many of those recently because he's very old, and He just doesn't have any in stock when I come by.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of things that we see across. Also some sample knives. So we've all got sample knives at the shops, right? And sometimes they look a bit tatty. So we just sharpen them up, make them feel super great, make them look as good as possible, and then send them out for a really cheap price.
You know what we've done with them this year?
Are you asking me or telling me?
No, I was gonna say I didn't know if you knew what the plan was.
Tell me.
Yeah, so all the stores took all of their old tester knives and we shipped them to the warehouse for Nalto to sharpen and clean up.
Stores like Vancouver just had Francis do it.
Yeah, well, I did what I was told. People like Nalto more than they like me, so.
I like you just fine. But I'm going to hang out with Nalto here in a couple hours, and we're going to go to Japan.
Wow. It's like the magic school bus.
It's like a magic carpet. It's like a magic mushroom.
Oh, wow.
We're going to Japan.
Oh, Fred's got an easy question. He says, any idea if you'll be getting any more Tojiro DP Gyuto by Christmas?
We should.
Want to get dad and mom one, but they can't mess up too much. So I got an email 2 days ago, Fred, that we were anticipating their arrival in the warehouse this week. So you'll have no problem. And then Michael asked us another.
Hey, Buck Reynolds from NOLA Smokehouse. How you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you in a long time. We got to go down there. We got to go down there for barbecue, dude. We got to do it.
Oh, I'd like to go to the. I've always wanted to go there. I just haven't had a chance lately.
Well, now we've got an excuse.
There we go. We got a pal. We got a couch to crash on.
We've invited us to his couch. That's nice of us.
There we go. I'm good at this. Michael's asking, any idea how they do the Japanese style handles, like how it's attached traditionally? I know exactly how they do it, Michael. So what you get is, someone's got a question over here. I'm gonna, because the Instagram one will go away. Jack asked, hey, I got a 210 Gyuto that needs sharpening and I have a stone. Would you be able to go live with me and show me how to properly sharpen the knife? I don't have time to do that today, Jack. But if you send me an email, chris@knifeware.com, we might be able to arrange something.
We do 2 classes a week of that.
I'm just going to tell him that next.
Oh, sorry. I'll just sit here quietly.
Just sit. But we do a class on Thursday evenings. I don't know where you're located, but it's at 6 p.m. Vancouver time. So 10 p.m. 9 p.m. in Ottawa. Where Owen or Francis in the Vancouver store do a kind of follow along sharpening class. So you should be able to work with that. That should be good. And if you needed any extra help beyond that, someone would be happy to sort you out. But yeah, we do a lot of live sharpening classes. We do one every week, and then you're in the Glebe in Ottawa, so you're like right around the corner somewhere. You should just send me an email, chris@knifeware.com, and I'll figure out how to teach you how to sharpen a knife. That's easy.
Maybe we should ask people, does anybody want to have one-on-one or I guess like four people with one instructor on Zoom knife sharpening classes? Is anybody into that? Because we've had a few people ask, and maybe that's the thing we should start doing is like continue our knife sharpening classes, just do them on Zoom.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got some questions here. Are you interested in some questions? So one,
I like them.
If you want Zoom sharpening classes, let us know.
Yeah.
And we could sell tickets, and you can get a one-on-one or a four. Like it's usually 4 per one teacher, and then you can really get a real instruction. Also, we've got some questions here. Like, is it possible to sharpen a double beveled knife into a single beveled knife? And the answer is, it is possible. It's just not a very good idea. He says, should I go and buy one instead? Yeah. Because double bevel and single bevel knives are not built the same way, right? That's kind of like saying, hey, can I turn my motorcycle into a car?
You could put a box on it.
You could, right? But it's not going to be the same.
It's not going to be a very good car.
No, it's not going to be a very good motorcycle in the end either.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a lot of people, that kind of makes me think like a lot of people kind of get real funny about like angles when sharpening, like, this angle on that side, that angle on the other side. I don't know. To me, it's people getting a little too fussy. I've never really been able to really tell the difference that much. Like if you were to, and I just don't know what to look for. but I figure I've got quite a bit of experience doing this kind of stuff. Like I should be able to tell if it was a big deal. So, yeah, just get yourself, if you want a knife that's going to act like a single bevel knife, you should just get a single bevel knife. There's some really they range as much as like a Gyuto does. You could get a wicked one for $120. You could get one for $2,000. You know, there's a lot in between. What else you got there, Kevin? There's a lot of questions. A bit of a flurry.
Tell you what, Iceberg Mama, she's saying, when are you going to cook French fries for me? Damn it, I want to see. And she also says, can I send my knives to Naoto instead?
You know, Naoto he's just got a real strong Instagram presence, you know, like I can sharpen knives too, you know, like, come on.
And Don Penny says, you can sharpen knives, but I'm not convinced about your brisket.
No, he's always ragging on me, and now
he doesn't rag on you about your brisket, doesn't he?
Yeah, Chef Max is gonna
get in there. An iceberg Mama is a guy, by the way. So I've
we keep calling you Iceberg Mama. Okay, it's MoMA then. It's hard. It's hard with screen.
That iceberg. Well, no pictures.
James says
I took the class. So I took the class in Calgary. It was a really good experience. Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's a lot of fun. I find it's one of those things too that like that's how I've had a lot of luck like getting my my staff. That's how I get them trained up. I just stick them in the sharpening class for the first couple of weeks they work here. And you'd be surprised. The biggest
John
difference.
Likes the aprons.
Oh, I can show you those. Those are nice. The biggest difference I say between a customer and a staff member at the end of a sharpening class is a vast amount of practice. Like that's the biggest difference. Because like the technique, like here's the thing is that there's a lot of people out there who want you to think it's really hard and that it's really like, but it's not really hard. It's not really complicated. Like I'm not particularly smart and I've figured out how to be pretty damn good at it. So it doesn't really, it just takes a lot of practice.
You've probably sharpened thousands of knives by this point.
I'd say so. Yeah. But that's the difference.
And thousands of knives. Yeah. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So these aprons, John, here, I'll show you this one. This is a company out of Vancouver called Search and Rescue Denim. They're built really well. They got some really nice hardware on them. So they're gonna last. And like you can take these off and like fire it in the wash. This one here is all canvas. This one over here too, the Industry is all canvas. They got one over here with leather pockets. It's got a little kind of.
I like that one.
Yeah, you can and that's like a upholstery leather. Like you can wash it. You don't need to really worry too much about it. But the thing I like about these aprons, and it's kind of because like I'm kind of funny shaped, you can buy this, you can buy a harness instead of having just the bib go over your neck. So then when you have the harness on, it would sit on your shoulders. Because I'm
much more comfortable.
Yeah. Because like aprons never fit me right. Like I
always wear them down because they're never long enough for me.
Yeah, well, I'm 6'1", but I've got really short legs. So I've got like really long, like I wear like a 30 inseam jeans. Like it's ridiculous. Like my kids' pants are longer than mine. And but so like if I just wear a normal apron, it kind of pulls me down and really like contributes to the back pain. So I always found those harness style ones takes all the pressure off your neck. It's worth it. You know, and even if you don't deal with that, like it's super comfy.
Adam Gonzalez says, I'm new to the knifewear community. Could you give me a brief backstory on the man, the myth, and the legend of Don Penny?
Oh, wow.
Well, Don Penny was born, he's the only person I know that was actually born north of the Arctic Circle. And he was born into a small community up there. And when I say he was raised by wolves, it was a little bit like that. There was wolves that helped raise him. And I know that when he moved down here, he took up a job with Tom Waits. He was actually the Tom Waits drummer for a while for the touring band. And I believe that's probably where he learned to juggle and ride a unicycle.
Wow.
But Tom
See,
Penny,
I
Todd or Don Penny, what's his name?
Don.
Tom Petty. Tom Penny. Yeah, well, he's had a very varied career, right?
Yeah.
From performance artist to juggler to magician. And
Now
what he
barbecue
really is known for,
aficionado.
what he really is known for is his barbecue brisket.
I think he's actually known more for shit talking my barbecue brisket than he is producing his own.
I'm not convinced he ever
First
shit
of all.
talks you. I think I just make that up every week.
Yeah. I thought, Kevin, that you were just like pulling my leg. I had to go look for that actual question because I didn't believe it was real. And there it was. Here we go. We've got some like knife questions, not just Torment Chris questions. And I do need to talk about how they put a handle on a Japanese knife. So, Jean-Luc Martin says, I got a Nikiri for my first Japanese knife. I'm loving it, but I'm torn between trying a Santoku and a Gyuto for my next one.
210 Gyuto
Yeah,
or 240?
I was going to say 210 or 240 Gyuto, as you've got the Nikiri. I find like a Santoku is almost like the love child between a Nikiri and a Gyuto. So if you've already got a Nikiri, just get a Gyuto.
Yep.
You'll get a Santoku later. It's easy. Oh, Trevor was in the other day. And then Damon saying, do you guys carry anything under 60 HRC? A little bit softer, but between like a German and Japanese knife. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do. We've got quite a bit, actually.
Some of those AUS knives would certainly fit the...
Well, I can go grab one or two. Here, why don't you answer another question, and I'll grab like a Haruyuki Mugi and a couple other things.
I can do that. So while Chris is going to grab some stuff, I'm gonna have a look at here, see if there's any questions I can answer. And let's see, what do we got here? Don Penny means it makes a mean brisket. It's true, man. The guy can cook. Do you guys carry anything under? Oh, that's the one. I'm halfway through the Knife Nerd Guide to Japanese Knives, loving it so far, and I've mentally spent about 20 grand in knives. Well done, Trevor. You'll be catching up to me soon.
You know what?
I wrote it, in case you guys don't know, I wrote a book called The Knife Nerd Guide to Japanese Kitchen Knives because I'm the knife nerd. And then it's a whole lot of stories. So if you can see here, we've got, why Japanese knives, and the craftsman, and a day in the life of a blacksmith, and then a whole bunch of stories about our blacksmiths that we work with. That's a Keta-san there. And then towards the back is how to sharpen, how to care, and how to build a collection, how to choose a knife, that sort of thing. So it's basically all the top questions we've been asked in our shops all the time in a handy book format. And Trevor S. has spent too much money. So well done, Trevor.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is one of those, this is the Haruyuki Mugi. This is an AUS 8. So this is more like a 58 Rockwell HRC. So when someone says HRC, this is a good opportunity for a little bit of education. HRC refers to the Rockwell scale of hardness in the C test. They've got different tests. And the way it works, the easiest way to describe it is you've got like ABC, I don't know how many there are because I've only ever really learned about the one. But the difference between them is that they're trying to penetrate a piece of steel. Okay, so let's pretend it's like with this pen. Okay, and they're going to put the pen cap is made out of a particular material, and they're going to put a particular amount of force behind it. And then they're going to measure the indent in the steel. That's what makes it HRC. So it's a certain amount of weight with some kind of like a diamond tip on it. And then they'll measure how deep of a dent it makes in the steel. And that's how they determine the hardness. The reason why we focus on hardness when we're talking about kitchen knives is because the harder the steel gets, that the sharper we can make the knife and the longer we expect it to stay sharp. That's why Japanese knives are so awesome, is because they use harder steel than other knife makers. With that comes, like, sometimes there's some more maintenance, like carbon steels are harder than a lot of stainless steels. Carbon steel can rust, where stainless steel is a little more resilient that way. Then you get into powdered steels, and they're even harder, but there happen to be stainless. Like there's a lot of like, it's a pretty deep rabbit hole to fall down. But if you stick to that harder steel, means that it'll get sharper and stay sharper longer. That's kind of like the Coles notes on all of it.
Yeah, that's kind of the basics.
Yeah. So if you get much more complicated than that, I get lost. So
AUS, is it stainless? Yes, AUS 8 is stainless.
yeah.
And Jean-Luc Martin says he was leaning toward the 210 or the 240 anyway. So thanks for validating that. I've got an interesting one here, Chris.
Yeah.
Got any idea if stropping my knives on leather will make them lose less material and make them last longer?
Well, leather's pretty gentle.
I'll tell you what, use this, you know what? Think about getting your hair cut.
Yep.
Every time you got messy hair, you don't need to get your hair cut. You just got to comb it. I am rocking a COVID hairdo, and I actually need to get a haircut. But I've given it up for Lent. And Lent is a long time this year, apparently. So leather strops and honing rods are the same, right? So when your knife feels dull, you don't necessarily have to sharpen it then with stones, which removes a lot of steel. You just use the honing rod and the leather strop to keep it sharp. And that just kind of realigns the edge. Because as you're cutting with something, the edge will get a little bit bent over one way or the other, like that. And the strop and the honing rod just realign it again so it's straight again. And that keeps you from having to sharpen it as often. You don't need to sharpen it every time it feels dull. You just need to sharpen it when you need to sharpen it. So use those tricks. Use like the honing rod and the leather strop to keep your knife sharper longer, so you don't have to sharpen as much, because sharpening is what really takes a lot of steel off.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to say is, because I had this conversation with someone here today, and they were really nervous to use their honing rod on one of their fancier knives. They had a kotetsu, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not too sure about it." And he brought the knife in. He's like, "Oh, it's dull." He's like, "I cut like one tomato and it's dull." And I was like, "Well, that can't be real." You know, like if someone says that with a knife like a kotetsu, my brain goes to like, "Oh, maybe there's two things that are wrong with this situation, right? It's either something wrong with the knife or we're not treating it properly." And because that knife was sharp forever. Yeah. And I just took it and I passed it through a piece of paper, and it didn't feel great. And I was like, it's okay though. And I gave it a few swipes on the honing rod, and it brought it right back. And he was like, "Oh," he's like, I'm like, "Do you ever do this?" He's like, "Oh no, never with that one. I didn't think I had to." And here's the thing about your knives is that no knife will actually stay sharp forever. All right. They require small amount of maintenance on a daily basis to stay as sharp as they can. Right. So
you know what? I bought a Ferrari recently, but it still needs.
Did you say it still needs gas?
Still needs gas sometimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how nice it is. It still needs to be taken care of. I didn't buy a Ferrari, by the way.
No, I didn't think so. I figured I would have heard about that. That one would have made it to me through the grapevine, you know?
Oh, could you imagine? What would you do with a Ferrari?
I'd drive real fast and probably get arrested. That's pretty easy, you know. So the other night when I was texting you, when we were trying to figure out songs there, when we were talking about music, and I was texting you, and I had a couple of wobbly pops, and I don't do that very often anymore. We had to bring the kids down to their dad's, and Maeve was driving, and she says she was driving normal speed, but I was terrified the whole way. I was all like, everything was moving, and I was like, oh God, it was bad. And then I was giving her this, like, you know, when I ride my motorcycle, I drive really fast, and I don't get dizzy like this. No, it's not that bourbon. That was the conversation we had.
It might have been the bourbon.
It was definitely the bourbon. Don asks preferences of honing rod versus strop.
I use both.
Yeah, I use both too. Like I take all the tester knives and I put them on both on a regular basis. It's kind of like you could almost treat a honing rod like step 1 and the leather like step 2, like maybe coarse fine, if you want to think about it that way, if it makes it easier. But yeah, you could use both. Like I have both in my kitchen, and it's not You know, sometimes it's as easy as the one that's closer. It's the one I reach for, but you could use both on a knife and notice a difference. Ah,
We got some fun ones here.
yeah,
There's
I
a real
saw
quick-
that.
Robert Marsh is saying, just wondering about the Haruyuki Kokuto,
Yeah,
210 Yuto, thinking about it for my daughter for Christmas. And
That
listen,
is
I'm in my office, and look what I've got in my office. I've got that exact knife in my office. Why? Because this is my new knife.
yeah. Well, I told you like 2 weeks ago that I think that is
This
the
is my new
knife for
knife.
Christmas.
Well, this is my knife, and I've got
Oh,
it in my
okay.
office here.
Well, yeah,
this
because
is-
you had that Nikiri for a while. You've been using that a lot.
Well, I kind of gave that away.
Oh, okay.
I gave it away and got a 210 instead.
Yeah.
But there you go. So what do I think of it? This is my newest knife, so that's what I think
Yeah.
about it, Robert. I think they're fantastic.
So
And like we were saying last week, I think it's going to be the best knife, the number one seller for Christmas.
yeah.
for
You know why?
presents
I've kind of, and well, Kevin is the one who taught me this, but so I know he's going to agree with me. But there are 3 things that make a knife
agree.
perfect for a good gift. They should look good, right? Like when someone opens it, like there's a lot of great knives, there's a lot of great knives with a 3 riveted handle and it's black and blah, blah, blah. And they're made out of wicked steels, but they should open the box and be like, wow, this is something special. It should have something to it, right? So it should look good. It should be easy to take care of, and it shouldn't obliterate your bank account, right? And
Yeah.
and that knife hits all points. It's like $205. It's made out of stainless steel.
It's
That's
205.
actually,
It's
I think so.
205.
I think it's
Dude, that's
205.
cheap. That's cheap,
Yeah.
cheap.
And then it looks awesome. Like the Nishiji finish is killer, you know? So I think that's a great choice for Christmas. And something that I've been talking about at my house, Brian says Denka is the answer to everything. Not everyone should get a Denka. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't give a Denka to my mom. I'd have to fix a Denka. Oh, Jim has a question. I'm going to take a quick second to answer Jim's question on Instagram, saying, I was wondering if we can come in to take a look at the knives that are going on sale in November before the sale to see if I like them before I buy some. The thing about the garage sale this year is that we are going mostly online with the garage sale. There won't be very many knives in the store. Kind of with everything that's going on right now, we're very limited to the number of people we can have in the store. So there's not a ton of point in us to put all the inventory in the individual shops. We're going to be doing videos like this during garage sale, so you can have a look and you can ask lots of questions.
And I'll be able to do something like this for you. If you say, I want to see X knife.
Yeah, like
I
if
will
you
be
were
able to
looking
do
at something in
this for
particular,
you.
one of us would go and grab it and we would show it to you and we would talk about it with you. Some of the knives would be in stores. It just depends on what you're on the hunt for, but we are encouraging people to treat this as more of an online sale, at least as much as they can. I understand wanting to hold on to the knife and giving it a try, but this is the best that we've come up with. And it worked pretty well in the spring. There was a lot of happy people. That I guess it's so long as the knife is unused, we can generally do an exchange for you with very little trouble. So don't feel that you're trapped with something that you've bought. It does need to be unused. We do need to be able to kind of put it back in the box and let someone else buy it again. So we can figure something out, Jim, but this year's not because if you asked me the same question last year, I'd be like, yeah, for sure. Show up around 5:30 the day before garage sale and I'll show you all kinds of stuff.
Well, you can still do that because you'll have some knives there.
Yeah, I'll have some, but I won't have. It just depends on what you're on the hunt for. Like I can cheat as much as I can cheat, but don't tell.
Somebody has just posted the link where you can preview the garage sale.
There we go. So if you go over, Jim, if you're still watching on Instagram, if you head over to YouTube, we just put up the link.
And Facebook.
In YouTube and Facebook for the link. So you should be.
Except the link doesn't work.
Oh, because it probably is.
Because it's not ready yet. That's gonna be the link once maybe.
When I clicked on it, it worked, Kevin, on YouTube.
You?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna post. Yeah, it works there. Okay.
So,
Posting again.
any afford? Okay. So I'm looking on Facebook. You got Instagram. Well, here we go. Someone asked, we'll go back up to the top. Jean-Luc asked, what is the best knife for cutting a ton of Brussels sprouts in half? I'm wondering if my Nikiri is already the best for the job or if I might prefer something smaller.
I used that 110 Denka the other day.
Okay,
Or
a little
120,
Denka.
120, a little Denka.
Yeah, I think I was going to say like a 120 is probably what I would reach for. You could do it with the Nikiri, but I like having something, excuse me, I like having something shallower when I'm doing that kind of job. I want to stab myself here, but like, like something that'll fit up in there. So you like, bloop, bloop, you're going to get into that motion. A little bit harder with a Nikiri, but you know what? If I were to have a bunch of Brussels sprouts at home today, my Nikiri is probably what I would use because that's the sharpest knife in my kitchen. So. And then there's some good questions today. This is fun. I like it when there's lots of questions. Adrian is telling Jean to buy himself a 165 Denka.
That's not a surprise.
We should get you in touch with Fujiwara, see if we can get you a t-shirt or something. Anthony says, what is the difference between your white and black honing rods? When I try to use a regular honing steel on my Japanese knives, they end up with tons of small chips. Well, that is a really good kind of PSA for everybody, because when you buy a knife from us, the staff will tell you not to use the metal honing rod. Yep. And it comes down to the hardness. Like I was talking about hardness of steel before. Ceramic is going to be harder than steel. That's why it's so brittle. So if you're using kind of a generic honing rod, just generally speaking, like let's say it's the one that came with the antler handle that grandma got for a wedding gift, that's going to be made out of a pretty soft steel. And your knife on like kind of a microscopic level, like it's not going to like the knife is actually going to bite into that steel. And the reason why it feels sharper the first couple times you use it is because it's putting a bunch of micro serrations into your steel. It's removing steel in like the least popular way. So you don't actually want to do that. That's why we like the ceramic ones. Yeah. Because the knife won't bite into the ceramic. It'll just glide on the outside of it because it can't. The ceramic is too hard. And that's why it'll kind of straighten things up instead of removing material. The difference between the white and the black, I feel that the white one leaves a little bit of a toothier edge than the black one. People kind of get caught up in like grit size and that, but it's not really like that. I don't know. Do you have a better way to explain that than I do, Kevin?
The white one's harder. The white one's harder, okay. So it does a great job on the really hard steels like powder steel and Algami Super.
Okay.
Okay. The white one is also more texture on it, so it does a great job on European knives. The thing is, though, the edge it leaves isn't as fine as the black one. So I have to be honest, I am the knife nerd that uses the white one and then the black one and then the honing strop, like the leather strop. And that is my move. If I didn't want to have two rods, I would just do the white one and then the strop.
Yeah, that's Kevin, that's what I have too.
That's what I do. I do the white one, black one, strop. The black one's great for so many things. It's just because it's so smooth. Like it's so smooth. It takes a few extra strokes on it to get it sharp again, but the edge it leaves is so nice compared to that white one.
Yeah. So see, nice. I use the white one because I'm used to like even on like my Denka, and I know it leaves it a little bit toothy, but I don't know. It's just it makes the edge that I like to use. So Johannes says, I don't want to interrupt the conversation because it's interesting, but can you tell me the date of garage sale? Well, yeah, of course. So it's November 16th. We should
probably do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So November 16th. Now, I think you said you're in Germany. Yeah. So it's going to start Eastern Standard Time, which is the time it is in Ottawa. So at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on November 16th is when the website goes live. So that would be the alarm for you to set. And then he says, any discount multiplies by like 4 times for us Europeans since import taxes and normal taxes are so damn high. What you can
Sorry,
do.
man, I didn't that. I can't change your country
No,
laws.
no, that's
Sorry,
not
bud.
really something. But I will tell you, if you're buying knives online, now garage sale doesn't always apply to this, but if you've got a couple like normal stock items that you're interested in, if you bought 3 knives or more, they all become 10% off. Okay, so that might not be
Doesn't
exactly
apply
what you're looking for,
but it doesn't apply to garage sale. Sorry.
yeah, it doesn't apply to garage sale
Those
stuff,
are
but it would
already
apply to regular stock stuff. That's the thing about the garage sale inventory is that it is, priced for fun.
yeah priced
Like,
for fun. I like that.
yeah, like
Oh,
it's very easy to get more than one knife during garage
and
sale.
and our buddy Razor Sharp Hawaii is asking about Chinese cleaver. Talking about priced for fun, we just bought 2 kinds of priced for fun cleavers from Tojiro last week.
Oh yeah,
This
yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
fun is really expensive, and this kind of fun is really cheap. So we've got really cheap and really outstanding coming in for Chinese cleavers. So that's pretty good, huh? And no, there's no discounts on garage sale knives at all. Sorry, guys. Even staff discount is drastically reduced because they're already specially priced.
Yeah.
But 10% off of regular price stuff. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back. Charlie is asking about any affordable Sekimarus. And
Oh, he
Wesley
likes the
says,
sword
hello,
shape.
Kevin. Yeah, he says, hello, Kevin. I love my Takeda. Did you help someone, Wesley, ED, with a Takeda recently?
Well, I suppose I did.
Yeah, he must have. So here's a kind of Sekimaru. Although this one, the tag says it's a Takobiki, but
It can be a Takobiki Sakamaru.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
The
now
great
I
thing
don't know
about
what.
names like this, they're not all 100% always the
Yeah.
same.
Now this is the only one that I've got in my store, and I'm not going to, presume anything about what you think is affordable. Well, this particular knife is $958. That's affordable if you've got $1,000 kicking around, right? That's affordable.
Oh, dude. Do you know what? It's only $1,000 one time. You'll have it for the rest of your life.
Well, you know what? I had a young
Only
couple in
$1,000 once.
today. I had a young couple in today, and I didn't even have to say that to them. They had that all figured out for themselves. They had saved. They've just moved in together. They could only have been like 20 or 21. It was the whole interaction was very sweet. But they were coming in. They're like, oh, we're here to look at some knives, and I was like, oh, well, I said something corny like, well, you're in luck. We got lugs. And then they had said like, good, because we've got 0 knives. We've got nothing. And they're like, we're looking for something that's kind of like something affordable. We need a big one. We need a small one. I told them about the 3-piece deal. So they wanted to look at a cutting board as well. And that was the thing that he'd said. He's like, look, he's like, yeah, okay. It's like, it's $100 more than what I wanted to spend when I left the house this morning, but I won't have to buy it again.
No.
And when people understand
Once,
that,
man.
well, that's it, right? Like, Kevin, how many times have you made the responsible choice and then just turned around 4 months later and bought the one you wanted anyways? Like, I do that every time.
I don't. I'm getting better at it.
Yeah. And that's something I'll tell cooks too. Like, because people, like, they'll come in and I know what it's like to be I don't know what it's like to be a cook right now, but I was a cook for a long time up till 5 years ago. And I know what it's like to make the responsible choice because maybe your paycheck sucks, but you need a new knife because you got a new job or whatever. Just wait another couple of days until your next paycheck comes in, get the one you want. Because I'd love to sell you 2 knives. That's great. But it would be nice to get the one you want out of the gate,
Mm-hmm.
That's life lessons with Chris Lord right there, for what it's worth.
I'm doing some search here right now because somebody's looking for a 210 carbon steel Gyuto.
Damon says 10 a.m. is perfect. My wife has gone to work and can't see me spending on more knives. Well, Kevin, right off the top of my head, a 210 carbon steel Gyuto under 250 would be a Mizu.
Yeah, a Mizu, a Yuki, Masakage Mizu, Masakage Yuki,
Yeah. Fujimoto.
Fujimoto,
Nishiji.
Shiji, yeah. Those are all great choices, man.
Yeah. And then there's always some garage sale stuff around too.
There'll be lots of garage sale stuff that.
Remember those Western handled Sunahisas that we got in last year, the year before? They had the black handle. And remember when we met with the makers and he was going on about the nickel bolster? Remember the nickel bolster? Yeah, so it was that knife and it had that little like kind of slant in it.
I
like
like
instead
that.
of just
I
being,
like that bolster a
oh,
lot.
I thought that knife. Yeah, so instead of just being like a straight one, it was kind of cut in like that. They looked real cool, and they were stupid cheap. They were like a 200 millimeter Gyuto was like $180 for
No,
like
they
blue.
weren't even that much, were they?
I'm guessing.
Anyway,
But
we've got more gate crasher stuff like that coming for sure.
Yeah,
So
that'll be
that's
a
good.
lot of fun. That's the stuff that I'm looking for now. Like people ask me all the time, like, you know, what's your next knife going to be? And like the ones that I'm always on the.
I know what your next knife is. Did you get it yet?
I haven't got it yet, no. Because something happened over the weekend that now I have a new toy to spend a lot of money on.
I thought you came into some money this weekend.
Oh yeah, I got to raise everybody.
I didn't mean to say that. Anyway,
oh, don't tell Maeve.
I know your next knife. It's going to be the 240 Kuroshu by Masashi.
You know what I would love to have? I would love to have a left-handed Isuba that was just something like I was talking about this with someone else, and we were pretty busy in the shop today. I was really running around because we had a bunch of we were closed for the last 2 days because of Thanksgiving, so I had a whole bunch of shipping that was all kind of stockpiled over the weekend. So it took there was 3 of us in the store today, and it took 2 of them to pack the boxes. So I was just running around sharpening and shooting the shit. And someone asked like, well, what would you get? What's your next knife? And there are 2 knives that I want. I want a 240 Honyaki knife that feels right in my hand. I don't want to just buy one just to have one, but I want one that feels right. And I don't care how much it costs. I've got money saved up for something like that. And then the other one is I want a left-handed 180 Isuba, again, that feels right. Now, we never get left-handed Isubas in like garage sale. So I don't know if I'll ever get one. I'll have to go knock on some doors. But there's very few lefty ones. But one day, those are the 2 knives that I want. Like, there's always something in the store I want. Like Kevin was expecting me to say a 240 Masashi Kuroshu because I really want one of those too. But my dream knives is a 240 Honyaki Gyuto and a 180 left-handed Isuba. I don't even care if it's Damascus or what. Like, I just want one that feels right. No one asked that question, but that was the answer I gave you. So that's what it's like to hang out with me. Jesus, that's Sean. Deftonius is Sean. He's already home. He drives fast. Wow. Oh, Iceberg Moma. He says, get rid of the box. She won't notice. That only works for so long. I've done that one before. I would leave the box at the store, and then I got in a lot of trouble. Yeah. Oh, my knife roll once, and it was a lot fuller than it used to be. So be careful. You can do it, but here's one, Kevin. Does your stropping compound have a comparable stone grit? Looking to improve my straight razor's edge. Currently have a 5,000 grit stone and a strop with no compound. Well, Andrew, I fixed a razor today, and after I was on the 5,000 grit stone, I was on the 8,000 grit stone and the 10,000 grit stone and a 16,000 grit stone. So if you finish off on that 5,000 and go to a strop, even if it had compound, I think you'd still find that razor tugs a bit. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Kevin? Oh no, I can't hear you. You've disappeared. Can you hear me okay? No, I can't hear you at all. Maybe you need to like drop out and come back. Or you're messing with me. It's hard to tell sometimes. Sometimes Kevin messes with me. So.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, loud and clear.
Taking my headphones off, so I might get. Sorry about that.
We'll manage. Yeah, I was talking about honing a straight razor there.
The polish is used to polish jewelry, right? The dropping compound. It is so much smoother. Just make sure it doesn't clump when you put it on the strop. Make sure you put like a lighter layer and put it on more often. Putting it on really thick, and you'll get outstanding result.
The stuff that we have is like a crayon, so it's very easy to put on. I know sometimes, like I've seen like a similar product but as a liquid. I've never used it, but I've heard that complaint that it's easy to get it to, like, it'll clump up on you, and you get like a little too much in the same spot.
There you go. James says he knows someone with a Shigafusa Usuba for you.
Oh wow, maybe we should talk.
He must have waited 27 years for that.
Might have. Oh, Charlie Davidson says he looked at the glossary and said Hikari was a Masakage series, but I can't find anything. That's because Onryu doesn't make that one anymore because he's he's kind of old now. So
somebody said they watched a show called Springhammer and was wondering who the young host of the film was. Very cool guy. That must be Naoto, because I don't know who that other young guy was because he's gone now. He doesn't exist anymore. He's just turned into an old cranky old man.
Yeah. Well, I've been a cranky old man.
When Kurochi wears off.
Yeah.
When Kurochi wears off, can it be restored?
I haven't figured it out yet.
Nope.
No, when it's gone, it's gone.
Just think about how your leather jacket looks cooler after 10 years. Now it's your knife. The Kurochi's worn off, and it's just you can pick your knife out in a group of them now.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing you can really do is to just not scrub it off. I found so I've got a Moritaka Ishime, like a 240 Kiritsuke that is practically shiny now, except for all the little bits in the Tsuchime finish. But it's because I was just really aggressive when I was cleaning it, and I would scrub at it and it came off, and I kicked myself in the ass in the beginning, but like Kevin said, it's mine now. It doesn't make the knife work any less.
Yeah.
It just looks different.
I guess a question about Andrew-san. Is he still making knives himself? He does a bit. He works a bit still, but he's handing everything over to Aketa-san, who is an outstanding blacksmith. He's the one that does all the tank knives. He does all the he does most of Andrew-san's knives now, and he does all of the Kotetsu knives. I know I've heard rumors on some of the blade forums that the knives from Andrew-san are much better than the knives from Aketa.
It's funny how that goes, eh? But
it's funny because Aketa's been making most of Andrew-san's knives for the last 6 years. So there you go. Back to the compound. Chef Mex is saying, should I get this rubbing compound for my strop? Chef Mex, if you're the kind of guy that just needs an extra 5%, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I know Kasumi at the shop can't live without the stuff. So there you go. Damon says he warms his leather over a burner for a couple seconds before putting the compound to go on evenly. And that's kind of a smart idea, I think.
Yeah, I've never thought of that. That's a good idea.
Don't burn the leather. But you want that compound to be really smooth, because I've seen too many people put it on super thick, and it's really it's like all uneven at different levels.
Yeah,
like,
like clumps, and it gets like glossy.
Yeah, you want it to feel glossy and slick. You don't want it to feel cloggy and clumpy.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it does to me. Over on Facebook, Vin is saying, looking for a petty for the wife that holds its retention like crazy, wah handle under 150. Here, I got a great option right in front of me. This is a Haruyuki Kuma 135. So maybe it's cutting it close, I don't know. But a 135 is, I quite like this size of petty. I use a 135 or a 120 for a lot of things. But this is SRS 15. It is a steel that was originally used in dentistry equipment. So if it is hard enough to drill through a tooth, you can expect it to keep its edge for a long time.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things we always tell you when you pick up a knife is don't cut through things that would chip your teeth. So this metal is meant to drill through teeth. Not to say it won't chip, but it's damn hard. This would be up there. I have a 210 Gyuto that I bought that summer when Shibata-san and Ikeda and Kato were here, and I've only just sharpened it. So
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're back.
Okay, good. My headphones just had to have a rest. Somebody's asking, are we going to get any Tsukasa Hinura-san knives in? Yep. I think we have some coming for the garage sale.
Yeah, there's usually a handful. Now, those are the kind that, like, if I could give you a word of advice, you'd be sitting at the computer with that knife in a cart, and at 10 o'clock Eastern time, you hit the button because someone else is already doing that. I'm sure of it.
Last garage sale,
his name is Mario Jarmuski, and he's trying to buy that knife already.
Yeah, we always have some come in, but there's never enough, right? He doesn't make a ton of knives, and his knives just sell right out immediately. The thing is, if you're looking, listen, here's the best advice. If you are looking for a knife from Hinura-san, or a tank from Shibata-san, or let's just say those, or maybe a Kotetsu, or a 210 Koishi Masakagi. If you're waiting for some of these knives like that, get your name on the list. There's a button on the website that says contact me when they're in stock. And honestly, press that button, put your name on the list, and what happens, when it comes into stock, the computer sends an email out to the first 20 customers on the list. If 10 minutes later, if they still stock, 10 minutes later, the email goes to the next 20 people on the list.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes later, if they're still stock, the email goes to the next 20 people. So the trick is get on that list. And as soon as you get that email that says it's in stock, just buy it. Boom. Don't think about it. Buy. Because there's 20 other people that are going to do the same thing, right?
Yeah. Well, like
and
the
they're just going
tank
to
has
buy it
always
as
got
soon
like
as it's available.
I don't know what the tank is at now, but last I talked about it with Ellie, there was like 300 people on that wait list.
Yeah. It jumped from 200 to 300 in 1 month.
Yeah.
So
if you're looking for something in particular,
I don't even have a tank.
You know what? I kick myself in the ass because that first time when the tanks came around, when they were in the shop, we had 2 in the Ottawa store. One of them sold there was 3 because we sold 2 that night when the blacksmiths were there. And then 1 sat around for another week. And I told myself, if that knife is here, it did. Yeah. Because, no one knew about them at that time. Right. Like those were the first ones made. Like that was like numbers 1 through 8 were what they had on that trip. And so no one knew what they were. And I told myself, if that knife is here on payday, I'll buy it. And wouldn't you know, Friday morning, someone bought it. I didn't get it.
That's funny.
So
that's funny. We got a guy here who says, can I use my Mortaka Kurtsuke for a slicer? You can, but the problem with using a tall blade as a slicer, when the knife goes through the food, it does this to your roast beef. It kind of pulls the fibers apart because the blade is so big, it sticks to it. That's why a Tsujihiki is a very short blade. So only like a little bit pulls through there. So basically there's not as much friction. So it just slices better.
Yeah, it's a surface area game.
You can use a Kurtsuke or a Gyuto to carve, you can, or to slice. But if you want it to get really good, get a Tsujihiki or a Yanagiba.
Yeah. I've got, as some of you know, I have a 360 millimeter Moritaka Tsujihiki that I really, really like. So.
And you have a brand new motorcycle, don't you?
I do. Well, it's not brand new. It's actually older than I thought it was.
Oh.
It's an 81.
It was an 81.
It's an 81. So I have an 81 Honda Goldwing that started yesterday.
Sorry, how many 81 Honda Goldwings do you have?
Well, I have an 81 Honda Goldwing and I have an 83 Honda Goldwing. The 83 Honda Goldwing isn't supposed to start. I've been told that it hasn't ran in 25 years. So I think that one is going to be the parts monster for the other one. So
Makes sense.
yeah.
Did you
Fun,
ride it
something
around?
for my-
Did you
I
ride
did.
it?
I rode it around my parents' yard. It
Did
doesn't
it have a
have any
seat?
brakes. No seats. No seat at all. So I just sat on the frame and hoped that my ass didn't get caught in anything. And I wouldn't dare put it out of first because there's no brakes. So and my dog was running around the yard too, like chasing me. I've got this little wiener dog named Audrey, and my dad was chasing her so I wouldn't run her over. It was quite the scene. It was exactly as you imagine it would be. Like, apparently I live in a cartoon, and that's what happened.
I watched Ned Devine yesterday, Waking Ned. Do you know that show?
Okay, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. I've heard of it though.
It's just one of those UK shows that's kind of absurd and gentle. And that scene that you've described would not be out of place. Would not be out of place in that show. There was a great scene of naked motorcycle riding. So there you go. Maybe you got to try that next.
Wesley has a good question. First of all, Charlie is asking, why are Tsujihikis more expensive than Gyutos or Kiritsuke when the latter use more material? They don't always use more material. They just end up with a thinner knife. Sometimes they are that big and that much material gets cut off. Depends on the maker. But the longer the knife gets, the harder it is to keep it straight. So even though there is a little less material in some cases, the knives are harder for them to make, harder to do.
They'll also hammer Yanagiwas more, so or Tsujiki's more. So Tsujiki's usually thinner than a Gyuto, often.
And Don, the 360 Tsujihiki is in the shop. So I've had it here for a while now. You're allowed to, oh yes, thanks. Someone's reminded me about Japanese knife handles. I have it here in the store. You're welcome to try it whenever you like. I'm going to answer Wesley's question, and then I'm going to talk about how a Japanese knife handle goes on. So, because you have those pieces there, right, Kevin? You've got those other, like those half-finished blades?
No, but I've got something here.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. I've got stuff.
Okay, so Wesley, you are talking about Ken Kagura. He does love fly fishing, and he would make his knives out of ship hull steel. He is officially retired, but keeps selling Kevin knives. So I think what he does is he goes out in the backyard and figures that he needs like some beer money, so he'll make a knife and then sell it directly to Kevin's personal collection. I think that's what's happening.
I bought 5 hunting knives from him for the website, for the garage sale.
Oh, okay.
We've got 5 original Kagura-san hunting knives coming. They're pricey, and these might be last 5 available, period. Yeah. I tried to get some axes. He doesn't want to make them anymore. I tried to get some kitchen knives. He laughed. Yeah. But I've got 5 hunting knives coming, and that's brilliant.
Yeah. Are they comparable to what you've got?
They're like mine. They're going to be 1,500 to 2,000.
Yeah.
And they look like mine,
crazy.
which is
no, that's a killer.
I don't have mine here. It's my knife. It's my bike knife right now.
Oh, of course it is.
So it's on my bike.
Okay.
You don't have a bike knife?
I do. Well, I do. I do. I've got Higos everywhere. Higos and Open Ls. Like I've got like one of each in every vehicle. You know?
You should.
In my backpack, in my everywhere, my lunch bag, everywhere. They're so cheap. You know what? Sometimes I just buy Higos. Like I'll buy half a dozen Higos, and just have them because I give them away. Like they're cheap. Like they're a great like, hey, you want to be my friend? Here's a gift.
And everybody loves them.
Yeah.
Anyway, handles.
So a Japanese handle. It looks. You know, I'm just going to talk about handles. I'm going to start with what a Western handle is for a second, because there were some knife companies out of Europe that did a very good job of telling everybody that a good knife has a handle that looks like this. All right. It's got a full tang. That means that the steel extends the entire way through the handle on both sides. You see that? Right?
Yep.
Full tang. And it's got 3 rivets in it. If you don't have it, if your knife doesn't have this, it's clearly no good. That's not true. Okay, because we determine what makes a good knife based on how it works, right? And that happens here, not here. If you're gonna break this part of the knife, you've long destroyed the good part of the knife. So we don't need to focus about this as much. The thing that I think about handles is you pick them up and you use the one you like. All right. Some people like Western handles. That's cool. Some people like Japanese handles, and that's cool too. All right. Go with your own gut. Don't listen to the people online who say they must have this, they must have that. They're just militant about their opinions. That's just like your opinion, man. That's not a fact. Okay. I really like Japanese handles because I've got busted up hands from being a cook for 15 years. I can't hold on to a heavy knife for very long because my joints hurt. So I like a light knife. And I'm a pretty good cook. So I'm just telling you that. I'm humble and I'm good at cooking. So the way that these work is that maybe I even have a handle. Like I don't have two parts. I've only got one part. I've got handles at the other side of the room. But can you show that piece that you've got there again, Kevin? So if you see that part there, that's the tang, right? So that extends to about here in the handle. Now what they do is they'll drill like a small pilot hole in the handle. But what they'll do is they'll heat up, I'm pointing at my screen like you can see, but they'll heat up the end of the tang till it's red, red hot. I got to see this at the Tatafusa factory. And they burn it into that pilot hole that they've already made. And what that does is it burn the inside of the handle fits the tang of the knife perfectly. All right, there's no wiggle room or anything like that. It is like it burns it. It's the perfect fit. Now in Japan, oh yeah, here we go. So Kevin's got the picture up there. That's Masashi burning it in. And Masashi uses a little bit of wax to kind of seal it. Not everybody does that.
You do.
A lot of them,
everybody that sells knives to us does.
yes, everyone. That's what I was going to say. That is that if they're coming over to us, they will put a little bit of insurance in the handle. It could be a bit of epoxy. Masashi likes to use wax. You know what? If I put a handle on a knife, I find like the hot glue gun stick does just fine.
That's what Shibata-san likes.
Yeah, I just cut little coins of it and stick it in the hole and then heat up the knife and melt it, and then the glue melts. Because what happens in Japan, where it's so humid year round, the wood doesn't really it doesn't swell and shrink and swell and shrink like it does in Canada, because we get it's super dry in Alberta where all the knives land. And then Ontario is super humid, super dry. Like we're up and down. So that with the wood, so that epoxy or whatever kind of adds a bit of backup. But yeah, don't let someone bully you into like what they think is the right handle. The best thing you can do, if you're near a store, go and pick some up. You'd be surprised at what you like. A lot of people think that like, oh, I won't like that, it's too weird. And then once I kind of take it from them and I say, oh no, hold it like this, it's completely different. I don't know if we've talked about that in a while, but that's how you should hold a knife. You should pinch it. Actually hold on to the knife. If you just hold it back here, it's like you're playing some weird game of tennis. But you've actually got control if you're holding on to it. And I do that with a Western handle too. Drives me crazy watching someone cut with a knife back here like that. When I was teaching at the culinary school, I'd throw things at the students who weren't holding their knives properly.
Good, they deserve it.
Yeah, like potatoes.
Listen, we've got some questions here. Chef Max is saying, do you guys sell Alpenels? We do at the Kent of Inglewood stores, not at the Knife Works stores. Kent of Inglewood has all the Alpenel knives. And Iceberg MoMA, Mr. Iceberg MoMA, is wondering if we sell kids' knives.
Yeah, let me get one. I'll show them to you. They're really cool.
We sure do. We sure do. And this is going to have to be the end of our show pretty much. Well, at least the end of me. Because I have to get moving here, because I have to go and call Moritaka-san here right away.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should kind of
do it from the store.
Yeah, we should sign off, because you're going to need the Zoom account for that, and we've only got one right now. So
what a cheap ass company.
Yeah. So this is the Tojiro child's knife. What's really cool about this, it is made out of molybdenum vanadium, so it's $36. And it's as good as a global, better, I think.
And it looks
But
rad.
it looks rad. And so I've bought a few of these. I don't know how old your kids are, but I have a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, and an 11-year-old at home. And I have bought these for my kids. What's really cool about it is that they've rounded off the heel and the tip, because usually it's the heel or the tip you poke yourself, but the edge is sharp, so they'll learn how to use a sharp knife. Moritaka's used to make one. They haven't made one in a few years, but this is more suitably sized for, like, this is a good beginner size. I found the one that they had made was it's called a Kawamuki. It's a fair bit shorter. It's like only like that long. It just depends on what you're trying. Like, it depends on the age of your kid. Like, I have one of the Moritaka ones, and I bought it for my daughter when she was 4. So smaller hands. She was able to like cut cherry tomatoes and that kind of thing. But I think this is maybe a better size for, like, if you've got like a 10-year-old at home. You don't want to teach them to use knives that are too small, I don't think. So, okay. We got 5. That's a great size for a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Well,
Wesley
here, why
says,
don't I do the rundown?
I think it's awesome talking to you, Wesley.
Yeah, this is fun.
Say hi next time you're in the shop.
Yeah, you know what? This is great, guys. Like, the more questions that, like, I think we got to everything. If we did miss something, feel free to send me an email. My email is, or you could send like to the generic, like, kind of hello@knifeware.com.
We're still talking a bit. So why don't we finish our talking? And if anybody's got a question we didn't get to, just throw it on here.
Yeah, if we missed one, just throw it up again, and we'll try
and we'll get it before we leave.
Yeah.
Also, if you liked what you saw today, send Chris, CHRIS, at knifeware.com an email. That's him.
Yeah.
And if you didn't like what you saw today, send an email to KRIS at knifeware.com. That's Chris in Edmonton. So just complain to him. He'll like to hear about it.
Yeah, he likes hearing that I've done a bad job. So
he likes hearing I've done a bad job. So that's great.
Yeah, he likes poking holes in our fun.
Always.
Yeah, you know what? For now, I've got much better hair than him. But I think by the time I'm the same age as him, I'll have very similar hair to him. So we talked a little bit about garage sale today. Garage sale's coming up 16th of November, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 8 a.m. in Calgary, 7 in Vancouver. If you're in, I don't know, if you're Johannes and you're in Germany, I think that's tomorrow. You know, figure it out, set your alarm. It's going to be mostly online. Again, because we can't have too many people in the store, right? Depending on which shop, they're all different sizes. We only have up to 4 customers at a time in my store. It's all we can do to keep safe. So put your mask on, stay 6 feet away from people. Just give air high fives for now, okay? But November 16th, it runs for a week. We're gonna have a couple of videos, like we currently have 2 scheduled on Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., the day of the garage sale. And then we've got on the Thursday at 7 to 11. This is Ottawa times, so Eastern times. We've got 2 scheduled. I would not be surprised if more happened, because that's usually the way we do things. The day 1 was a lot of fun, so then we'll do it on day 2 because we like having fun.
Chances are we're going to do probably a little 1 hour each day, to be honest.
Yeah. So garage sale is going to be knives from new makers, discounted stuff, one-of-a-kind stuff, the scratch and dent stuff, retired testers, usually good for some new stones and, you know, other kind of knickknacks and toys. It's always a lot of fun. There's always something.
And there's 5 Kagura hunting knives.
5 Kagura hunting knives.
Which will go immediately. Mario should probably know about that, actually.
I'll text him after and let him know. We have a sharpening event going on at the end of the month. We didn't talk about this yet today. I had it on my notes, but we didn't get to it. October 26th to November 1st, all proceeds from sharpening are going to our local food banks. So Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, and Ottawa. Normally we support local charities. Like in Ottawa, we give half of our sharpening proceeds to Operation Come Home. They're a group that work with kids on the street. So for this week long or 6 days, whatever it is, we're going to give 100% of our sharpening to the food bank. Okay, so it's a great time if you need to get your knife sharpened. it's for a really good cause. So.
And I'd like to point out too, I think we always say we give half of our sharpening money to local charities. And people probably think, oh, it's like 60, 80 bucks, something like that. Last year we donated about $110,000.
Yeah. $28,000 went to Operation Come Home.
Yeah.
And that's just my store. That's just the sharpening out of one store.
That's right.
And I'm
We've
like the
got-
slow,
we've
like I'm
got-
a little.
Well, we got 11 shops now, right?
Yeah. So everyone's got their own partnerships, and yeah, we it's something. I actually, if I could keep you for an extra second, like I work pretty closely with Operation Come Home. Like I'm on their board of directors, and I work with them pretty close. I think they do great work. I'm really happy to support them. Like I think it's a really great thing. So. I don't know.
Wesley says, you doing knife sharpening classes? Yeah, we do a class every, Chris, when is it? We do a live one on
Live on
this
Thursday
watching
evenings.
right now.
Yep, same spot on Thursdays, and then on Friday afternoons, it's more of a discussion with a bit of a lesson, advanced sharpening techniques. So, but just because like if you had a not so advanced question, you would get a very genuine answer. Now, totally not give you a hard time.
And if you really want to just have a more hands-on sharpening class, send chris@knifeware.com an email, CHRIS, and we can start setting up. Let's see if we can find 4 people who want to take a class, and we'll set up live Zoom classes for us.
Yeah, I know. I think Nathan has done 1 or 2 for a couple of people already. I think we have a little bit of practice at it, so we could do it in a more official capacity, no problem.
Adam says, during garage sale, can I buy multiple knives on multiple days and have them all shipped together at the end of the week? Yes, but make sure you write a note on every single invoice that you spend.
Yeah, communication is key in those kind of funny situations.
Yeah. And Michael Law says he's still waiting for us to come to Toronto.
Well, we were going to do a pop-up.
Well, we were going to have done.
We've missed out on 2 pop-ups.
We were going to open a store in the spring.
Yeah, in the spring. Yeah. So, but you know what? Let's get through the winter, and then maybe the year after, we'll see if we're there. Yeah, but I will definitely come back for a couple of pop-ups next year, provided we're allowed.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a shame. We were going to set up on Ossington in Town Moto. They've got a shipping container in the back. I don't know if you're familiar with that part of town. They're right next to Bellwoods, Kevin. We always end up there.
I know. It's the worst.
But since setting up that pop-up, and then I had to like phone them and figure out how we were going to take care of it and everything, I bought so much stuff from them. I bought so many t-shirts, and I bought a new motorcycle jacket from them, and they're great. I don't know if you're, they're a great shop.
Next time we do a Toronto pop-up, I'll come.
Okay.
I'll even try to work. I'll even try to try not to get in the way.
Well, you brought me lunch that one day. That was great.
I'll try not to get in the way.
Yeah. We've just got a couple of there's been some new content put up. And last week, Naoto had interviewed Kato-san. Really interesting conversation. We try to do these, like it really depends on how free people are. But Naoto was interviewing Yoshimi Kato, the man behind the Masakage Koishi and the Yuki and the Kiri. He makes a really wicked SG2 line under his own name these days. He's super talented. He's like really fast too. He actually can forge 2 knives at the same time. Like that's mental. So, and then I had written a blog post about kind of making a better turkey. You might not need that this week though. You probably already had turkey, but maybe you have turkey at Christmas time.
You might have Christmas coming up, or you might be not in this country. This is the country of Canada. We're in the country of Canada, and in the country of Canada, we have something called Thanksgiving. Now, in the United States, they have something called American Thanksgiving, and that happens in November.
Right. Yeah.
But the original
is in the States. Well, Sean says, does that mean I'm not going to Toronto? Sean, you'll still come to Toronto. There'll need to be 2 of us. That's fine.
Maybe Sean and I will do it.
Oh,
he'll never want to do a pop-up with me again if he does it with me one time. And also, right now is a great time to get a turkey because they're all on sale. Listen, I really got to go. I got to be talking to Moritaki here right away. So I'm going to sign off. Chris can keep
sign
talking,
off, and I'll say goodbye.
Here. Ciao, guys.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Okay. So I guess I don't know if I don't have much else to really say there, folks. I kind of went through my list. If you've got any, I'll just do a quick flyby here. Wesley says, when's the next garage sale? That's going to be November 16th. It's largely online. We'll still have stuff in the stores, but we're not really encouraging people to we can only have 4 or 5 people in the stores at any given time. So, and yes, Robert says Victoria. So, Appleseed. This is a good question, and this is what I'll finish off on. Robert, we would definitely do Victoria as well. We really love coming out to see these other people. So Appleseed, this is the hard question that we're going to finish this off, and then I'm going to say goodbye. Says, tactical knife question for you. For Nikiris and Chinese cleavers, should the blade be flat with the cutting board, or will there always be a curve or slight belly? Traditionally speaking, a Nikiri or a Chinese cleaver is flat, flat, flat. Although these days, a lot of blacksmiths have been putting a little bit of a curve or a little bit of a belly to it to accommodate people's chopping, right? So like a Nikiri, I usually go chop, 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 but a lot of people like to rock chop like that. So some blacksmiths have been putting a little bit of a curve. Really depends on which one you're looking at. I find the Moritakas and the Masakages are true to form, very, very flat. Masakage puts a little bit of a curve near the end, but it doesn't really interfere with anything. Some of the Fujimotos have got a little bit of are a little bit rounder. Sometimes you get one of Fujiwara's too that's a little bit rounder. They're supposed to be flat if we're talking traditional, but these days people have they do whatever they want, you know. But if getting something super flat is important to you, I would go with a Moritaka. Those seem to be the most consistently straight. So cool. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. You know, if you do need something, like Kevin said, you can always hit me up, chris@knifeware.com, CHRIS@knifeware.com. hello@knifeware.com works too. That'll get you the help desk, and there's usually someone there. They might get back to you a little bit faster than me. I'm off for a couple of days coming up. So, but I am happy to help you. So don't be shy if you think I can help. I guess with that, I'll say goodbye. Don't forget to watch the sharpening video on Thursday, the advanced sharpening on Friday, and then we're back here again next Tuesday. So talk to you soon, and thanks for hanging out.